All set, we'll call it to order, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. On 30th. Good stuff. Everyone should to accept the minutes from last meeting.
Okay. I second it.
That's good. Any discussion, anything we need to talk about? Seeing none, all in favor, it's like minutes. That's everybody.
If we have an introduction.
Well, you wanna start us off, John?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm Richard LaBelle, I'm the town
Oh.
manager.
You want?
Nice to meet you. I'm Linda Quimby.
I'm Deanna Meservy.
John Bailey.
Melissa Lawrence. Jocelyn Dune.
John Lynch, thank you for joining us, we are very excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
We have Mr. Farren and the honorable select board member there.
REMC.
Yeah, okay. Just had to do business? Is that all right? You wanna?
Sure. The first item that we put on here, the select board has approved funding of the program already, the software already. This is I work as a permitting and code enforcement software. That is used to collect and correct violations for land use largely, so junkyard littering, things like that. The other side of that software is for permitting, plumbing permitting, building permitting, and so it fits into the economic development piece. This was not a budgeted proposal coming into 2026, but when we were called on by the vendor, it was something that was very attractive to staff, and so we moved forward. We asked the select board to fund it out of the current operating budget, which they had approved to get it moving, but I also said that I was gonna come to you folks to see if you were interested in supporting year one of the expense, which is the upstart of the program. So that's getting the town of Norridgewock set up with the maps and property data, and then our town specific permits and violations process. And then the year one subscription fee of 2,000, which is what the recurring cost would be, that would be built into the code budget moving forward. So happy to take questions on this. The request from staff to the TIF committee would be to consider authorizing the expense of $3,300 for this year's iWork contract.
How many transactions a year would you say the code enforcement organization does, permitting and code enforcement?
So on the permitting side, we're probably somewhere in the ballpark of 100 to 120.
Really?
That building and plumbing,
Yeah.
and that's, I'll say, on the low end of things. And then on the enforcement side of things, that varies. I don't wanna give you an answer that I.
5?
So on average, we have a illegal junkyard inventory in the neighborhood of 50 properties. And what this software does is it allows us to track the monitoring of those properties and progress with those properties. On the violation and on the improvement side, so. You get out, you can take a photo of the property and then that can book right into the file. To monitor improvements, and the timestamps that automatically will generate notices of violation and whatnot. It's pretty handy.
So it's not taking away from like the code enforcement, it'd just be helping.
It's streamlined so that we can manage more of these land use issues. In a smaller, but in the same amount of time, we're fitting more into the same amount. It's also a pretty good tracker to show you progress that's been made, so it tracks inspections
And all on your tablet too, as opposed to
on phone, tablet, or desktop. Yeah.
And I guess my only question is like how it comes to us to pay for it. How does that fit into?
Well, so I fit it into the economic development perspective that, you know, any new construction is economic development. Any land use violation is arguably anti-economic development. And sort of streamline. It wouldn't be a recurring request, is my commitment to you. This would be built into the code budget after year one. But where it was unexpected, we obviously look for non-traditional methods of funding.
That kind of makes me ask though, if we give someone and maybe this isn't our guidelines, but just random, if we fund somebody and then they have a code violation, how does that work? Does that have anything to do with their funding? Like that would be pulled or anything like that?
No, it's a precondition that they not be in, yeah, correct.
I make a motion that we accept the $3,300 for the work price proposal for this year.
I second it.
Any other discussion?
I think it's a good step forward into the 21st century.
You're right.
Is this integrated into current GIS stuff? Like, do we, like our tax maps and stuff like that, or is it completely separate?
It integrates with all of our maps.
Cool.
It's not public facing to
Right.
that extent
Right,
at
right.
this point in time.
Neat. Cool. No discussion. Good, all in favor? Everybody? It is, grants.
Yeah, so in your packet, hopefully you had, you have the tracker of the current grants.
Yep.
Okay, and so it kind of shows you, what I wanted to do was compile a full history, do we not have?
No, he only one that, wow.
I just.
So this here.
Okay, so no,
Is this the one you're talking about?
I think that's good,
so let's pass over the update on,
But that is on the town page, so
right. And that's probably where I'm gonna grab it for the sake of
I did
ease.
do that.
To print it off for you in a timely fashion. So one of the things, Deanna actually came in, after the ballpark of after your last meeting to talk about things that she had seen and heard in the community and thought that would be worth bringing to the TIF committee. And one of the things was, we award grants and largely you don't ever see it unless you have the occasion to drive by. So what can we do for you guys to, make sure that we're following through on this type of stuff and what's the progress and, so what I did was I compiled, and there was obviously social media stuff that circulated around about where the money's going, so. This is your program history here. That goes right back to 2019 with your first grant of Hardy's Motorsports. And how much was requested and then how much was approved, how much was drawn on it. So in most cases, the applications haven't been drawn fully, but after a year, they do lapse.
I was just gonna ask, so they can't
So
come
that's
back
how
and get
it works.
that.
After a year.
I send them a notice that says, your time's up, I'll give you 30 more days to, or we're gonna consider it lapsed.
So do you know what the facade, do you know what the facade improvement program is?
I read them.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, all right, so anyway, so this is the spreadsheet that I've compiled, it's available on the town website, we can take a look at it. And what it does is, it gives a project summary as to what the type of project was. And in cases where they, like here with the May application from Nickerson Yard Maintenance, so a lot of you might remember last year when they came in and did some landscaping out front and they added signage, and so when they did that, they had requested initially 10,700. You only approved 6,800 because a lot of that was those branded signs. Committee bounced back and said, well, is there a cost to that? And so you reduced that, so where you made exceptions. The initial request, I tried to just put a note, so there's branded signs that were excluded. Yeah, up here at Wentworth's Country Diner, you had excluded heat pumps at the time. And so we did that, but the goal here was to kind of give you an idea as to what projects were, and then talk about what projects you might want an update on. All of them that are open or what, so
When you say lapse, that means they can't come back and get that, it's over done with.
that's correct. They
Like, I
could
saw those-
reapply.
I
They
saw
could
those
reapply.
reapply, cause I saw those, was it
Okay.
two at the top that never took any money?
It was like the ever after.
And
Yeah, Fondos.
Fonzo's, which Fonzo moved,
Left.
so
Right.
that man, and what was ever after.
Was the wedding venue. The wedding venue on there.
I feel like they didn't have many this year, like, I feel like the year before, you would drive by and they were always busy, but this past year, they didn't.
That down at the town line.
And on the river road, yeah. It's a really nice place.
So I'm gonna grab you hard copies of those, but are there any ones that you in particular would like an update on, whether we ask them to come back and visit?
Robot farm home to open. Oh, that's for bottom farms, what about?
Yeah, no,
No,
Amy's,
crooked face.
crooked face,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the crooked face, she had actually, she sent me an update recently. Where the physical exterior is supposed to be finished soon.
Mhm.
That was cut short by season.
Season, yeah.
And so anyway, that is supposed to be getting done up in the next, I'd say the next month. And then there'll be discussion about the interior development and the layout for that. She had inquired about funding mechanisms for that, and I had directed her to the RLF program. We have a revolving loan program, Melissa, that we deposited $100,000 into. It's managed by SEDC. And so people will come to the bank and say, okay, well, I want this kind of funding, and we're like, okay, well, we can get part of the way there, but maybe they need some gap or non-traditional. That's available to them, or things like this. It's
Okay.
generally a lower interest loan.
Mhm.
It's pretty competitive. And up to $25,000
Okay,
on an application or something like that, but we don't manage that, we just monitor it.
Gotcha.
And so I directed her to that as a potential option. But we have the expectation that on a grant, the business will be operational for at least 5 years. Or there's a clawback provision, money would have to be returned,
I'll
so.
take an update from Mint, cause they've hardly taken any of that.
So mid is one where they had put a lot out, you remember that was one that
That's what I
was
thought, cause they looked like they were all
Forced
set,
in moratorium, they did a lot of the work themselves.
right?
And I don't think that they, and I reached out to them about it, and. I think their cost estimates were a little bit off when they started doing the work themselves,
Oh, okay.
largely materials were taken in that. You're gonna get those hard copies.
I would think like you just come and get the whole fund, but they have to do receipts.
They-
and stuff.
You do the receipts. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, they've been,
Very good.
they actually did really good with, a place in Farmington, a hairdresser. Wasn't allowed to renew her lease, and she's like been a hairdresser for, I think it was like 10, 15 years or something. And they partnered with her to let her keep running her business in there at a booth rent, which was, I thought, really nice. Until she got her own place to do it, cause that's what she was used to.
So I will continue to keep this updated for you. And if you have anything for questions or whatnot, they're not obligated to come in and present to you, I think would be the right thing. If we ask them to, if we wanted to hear project specific update or anything like that.
And like people that haven't come and taken out the whole amount, like Nickerson's or something. They have to bring in receipts to get the amounts, right? So that might be why they're not.
Everything's reimbursement basis.
Okay.
And that one's not formally closed out because it's still got another week on it. But I think I did have a letter on file when they submitted the application that was all the receipts have been in, that their project was done.
I have a
Okay.
question. So I noticed there was a couple businesses on here that got a couple grants. So do they have to wait like the year and then they can apply for something else, or how does that work?
No, well, there's timing restriction now, we're on the quarterly, which we'll talk about later, quarterly review cycle,
Okay.
but you can come in and it's a maximum for property, so.
Okay,
So Fredericks came in, I think they actually had 2 or 3 applications on here. And it was just the timing of it all, and
Okay.
not maybe wanting to lay out the money all at once.
okay.
Or
So,
like Amy,
but once you
like
get
Amy's are 2 different.
the maximum on your property,
Okay.
then.
So there's a max and it doesn't matter how much time.
It was 25,000 maximum on
Okay.
property.
And that was
12,000.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone would be willing to volunteer this, but I think you could see. Some pretty significant increase, just the businesses that I know on this list that got this have had, I would say, significant growth. Since then. It'd be interesting if anyone share, I don't know what those questions would be, but it'd be interesting to see what the return. We spent $25,000. In 20, Hardee's, like, I think that business is significantly bigger than it was in 2019, I don't know. Well, it's on here.
Wentworth is theirs from previous owners or
Yeah.
current?
Previous.
Previous,
It was under one, but yeah.
And so, yeah.
which means that they wouldn't be able to get.
The Columbia Center was just out here, right?
That was on
No,
the-
that was
That
all.
was, but that was like their
Right.
big move, right?
Right.
So like since then, we certainly had growth since, I just, Everett's tired, it'd just be interesting to know if there's any. I don't know how we quantify it, but I think there has been significant economic development, and it'd be nice to be able to prove that.
Right, just to
Right.
have like a positive aspect on it, cause especially after our last.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Right, like,
Yeah.
since.
Yeah,
since, like, yeah.
it's exploded,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that would be nice, cause there's quite a bit of negative stuff after our last meeting,
So maybe it's,
a positive, but.
somebody like Deanna, who wasn't on the committee at the time. Received a grant in the past, would write us an article. That we could put in a newsletter to talk about, you know, what it did for small business. And maybe it could talk about employees or, you know. Impact, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Impact.
Live on Facebook.
You could get that.
I got that, let me write that article right this morning.
I don't know, and it doesn't have to be for the next newsletter, because that window's closing in 10 days, but.
No
um,
rush.
If we could get something out there, I think that's also a valuable marketing tool to share with. Prospective businesses that would be
And the
interested.
businesses.
Don't mind either reaching out to some of these businesses.
I was gonna
too,
say,
and asking for
this will just be their one, cause they,
100%.
they weren't even a thing before
Yeah,
that, the
especially-
Evolve or.
Elevate, yep.
Yeah,
I will, yeah, I definitely have connections and can, yeah.
how long is it projected for the lender not to take to like be a thing?
I don't have a projection on that, they came secured, the funding they've secured, their permitting, but. There's a question as to whether or not that development will take place.
And then if that happens, like when people don't take the money, it just sits in our. Like reserve account until the lapse is up and then it's,
And then I sent them a note that says the amount collapsed,
When did we change from 25 to 12.5?
July of last year.
So why is one of these 25 the newest one?
but it wasn't approved.
Didn't.
I
Okay,
think we're gonna talk about that.
okay, I'm just curious, I was just
So
curious.
the applicant requested 25, this committee recommended 25 and the select board approved 12.5.
Okay,
So that's why you have those columns. All but that column, everything
is the 12.5.
generally agrees, that the
Okay.
TIF agrees with the select board,
Okay,
but
got it.
And were we gonna talk about guidelines, is that why you said these two? Okay. This is helpful, thanks for.
Yeah, very helpful.
You have a total on this?
yes, I wrote it somewhere.
I was just on my computer.
Of withdrawn one,
What's that?
of the withdrawn part, or
Yeah.
just all of them?
We, John, you know this, roughly $110,000 to $120,000 a year we receive from the TIF, is that correct?
140.
140, okay.
I feel like I have the last one.
Oh, no, last year was in the ballpark of 90,000. We reached
Because
out
of the-
here.
Because of the,
Tax rate is going down and our values down and the. Gas pipeline value stays the same. It's $11 million, that's been pretty sure.
it used to be a high for.
Correct,
Yeah.
so. You approved $278,000 in grants. You and the select board, 278. $228,000 paid out of the program.
Since we started.
That's since 2019 is when the program started and.
No, the facade program started in 2019. We started the TIF committee in 2015, 14, 13. Been a while.
It's been a while.
It's really only like a third of our total. Revenues at one time.
But we said most of it's gone into the. Sidewalk money, right?
Right, so
In
Yeah.
the great scheme of things.
the select board did not take all of them. To fund the sidewalk project, they capped it at 450,000, so it still leaves.
Any other questions about? Some of the program, did you want anything you wanted to?
No, not really, but, I put the program, because the program guidelines aren't on here, but I put the program guidelines in your packet because. If you wanna make changes to them. I'm gonna talk about this now after the fact, if you wanna make changes to them, then I would suggest that we make changes to them. If you don't wanna make changes to them, then my recommendation would be that we follow them. Because after the last meeting, my phone rang off the hook, my office door got knocked on. And what should have been a positive, which should be every day, a positive addition, benefit to our businesses and our community turned into something very negative. And I think it was a perception. True or not, perception was favoritism, special interests. Location, who you are, all of those different types of things. Chuck, I'd appreciate if you were on board professional about this, because it's not the easiest thing to talk about. Because they're all taxpayers in our community. And because we broke outside of the guidelines. It generated a lot of unnecessary negative attention to the program. So. I talked with Deanna and we'll get into the next item of the scoring criteria, so. If you're supportive about it, I drafted it, I asked her to look at it. You can justify positions that you want to take, and I think if you can go through this and work on it and find something that works for you. Is the review authority that. You can have that sliding scale where you remove the cap of the program. And you set your average score, and if something scales really well, then it can go above, and. I think that's.
This is better than, cause like my thought on like changing the guideline, how we talked last time was like, okay, Main Street is like. Where we wanna put our money, so maybe that's where we cap it, but instead, this sounds more like, we're saying like
Yes, it sounds.
like, instead of just. Geographically, opens that up a little bit more too.
Yeah, but it also provides a quantifiable, traceable review history
Mhm.
that removes personal feelings.
Fair.
This piece with the history also helps because of what was done prior to some of us that were. Joining the board to know what's gone out in the past.
I was gonna say, cause like things that like came up on Facebook were things that none of us, but maybe John were even present for.
Right.
And it's not easy because this committee, in the time, built this program. And it was largely based on Fairfield's program, and then we refined it and added and changed, and over time, there were learning curves, and this committee has continued to come back and say, okay, well, that didn't work very well, or that didn't work very well, or, you know, we funded this because it fit within the scope of the program, but boy, we didn't like to fund it. And so I think that's kind of what Joe to the
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
So
When I think.
with that being said, keep these guidelines in mind. We're supposed to go to quarterly review of applications. We need to stick to that. And. Yeah, read through these. No,
So how would the process work? We each rate these independently and then,
in my perfect world,
yeah,
you review the application and you send me your ratings. And then I plug those ratings into a spreadsheet and it pulls it all across and you sum it out, we weight it out, and then you're gonna get a raw total.
So we'd come to the quarterly meeting with the ratings of the application we have, and you'd have it done out and we'd talk about it.
Yes, and
In a
then,
perfect-
and then. Theoretically, you could make adjustments to your initial based upon hearing. I think not allowing for that. Undermines due process, but what's the purpose of having somebody come in and explain their application if it's not gonna impact the way that you view the application?
Mhm.
But I think documenting. Some of what's on this draft.
Right.
Ahead of time. It's in a better position for equitable treatment.
And you know, the onus also goes on to the applicant too, you know, if you provided an application that's not complete and that's not thorough. The ability for us to make any kind of a responsible decisions, so the onus isn't all on us sometimes. And I think you have to be mindful of that.
Well, and I think it helps a lot too when a business sends in, even like we had said last time, the laundromat may not have been the owner, but. A representative to speak on it, because how we all interpret something may not be how the business is trying to interpret it when you're filling out an application, so. Like, that's also something that's really huge, that if you put in an application, like, we really encourage you to. Come and talk to us, and
And
if
be
maybe the
present.
date that our meeting doesn't work, then maybe we could even adjust that if that's something that. Helps them come.
I don't know how many people here apply for grants, but. I work on 501(c), nonprofit, and you've gotta have all your, everything dotted and crossed, because They're just not good, people aren't gonna give you money, giving you money. And we're giving people money, I know I put an application into the town of Norridgewock, and I try to make as much information. Some of these applications we get are not enough,
Subpar.
that's my opinion.
So do we wanna move into a very draft criteria, talk about it, or?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, I just haven't got to read everything.
So what I did was I took your side improvement guidelines, went through them, and I then put it into AI and said, pull out the highlights for criteria. And then I went back through and I deleted a few things and I added a couple things. To kind of get you this, so this does align with the facade improvement guidelines. And
How?
then there are a couple of things that I know you try to reach that we needed to consider.
And I guess like I'm a number-based person, so I'm used to like weighting something with numbers, so how would you rate? Like, what's an example of,
So I mean,
I don't wanna,
project location and visibility, visual, so that's, is it on Main Street? And where is it on Main Street?
and then that would be like A is the best and G is the.
No, those are your, you remember A,
Oh, I see.
you
what
remember
you're
A.
saying. Okay,
Okay.
see, I was,
No, you're,
No, no,
I'm right there, yeah.
oh, okay.
Okay. And the weight is what of these, which of these factors we need to add up to a whole.
Okay,
It's 100 or 1. Carry the weight that you want, is that the most important thing, or is signage important? You know. Visual enhancements, curb appeal, that was one of the things we talked about with the downtown property, with the demo project, right? Okay, well, this is a big eyesore of a building. They're gonna demolish it, build brand new construction. That facade improvement, I mean, it's elimination and reconstruction, and so by weighting these, I would say probably like a 7. Average is very good.
Right.
So on something like that, if you could score 10. That's gonna maybe help you get.
So we need to have a 1 to 10 scale on here and not 1 to 5. So that needs to be at least included on the sheet, so we all know that 1 is least and 10 is most. Or, you see what I'm trying to say? We
Yeah,
need
so-
some guidelines on the sheet to know how to rate.
Yeah, so like these are the 8 things. 9 items on the sheet of considerations. Do you like them all? Do you wanna add ones? Do you wanna change them?
can we pause for 2 minutes and read them all?
Yes.
When you say rate them right now, you're saying like. These actually like 1 to 9 on what we weight the highest, and then when we get applications, we would also rate them.
No,
So it's based on, okay, so like, when I'm looking through these, so like, let's go down to business type and community value, so say it's like another. What's something we have,
A salon.
a salon, right? So we are gonna, I would say that business type and community value is low, but if it's like a market. That grocery store,
Please.
like that would be high
Okay,
for that specific application.
right, so we take each application and rate
Yeah,
each of these.
Like, and if
sections
it's like,
from 1
so
to 10.
project location and visibility, say they're like far away from Main Street and you gotta drive down the back roads to get to them, then their weight will be low.
Okay, gotcha.
so that's your rating system, but the weight system is
Okay,
your location. Is your location, and let's work on 100 points. That you need to total these 9 rows into. How many points out of 100 are you gonna give this location to? Versus post signage? signage and
Oh,
5 points
I
and
see what you're
location is
saying.
25.
Weighting each of the questions.
Correct, because
Right.
they're not all the same.
Right.
And I think,
Well, if we look at our guidelines, the goals of the Norridgewock facade improvement program are to increase economic vitality and enhance the commercial problems. Properties
No.
located within the town of Norridgewock. So the town, we don't have to be in the corridor here, we need to be in the town of Norridgewock. And we have to enhance the economic vitality. Increase the economic and enhance this properties. Commercial, we had this issue before, commercial properties. I'm just rereading.
right, so when we talk about geography. And Jocelyn puts in a proposal for. The Roderick Road, which is out off the airport road, and it's a private road that's a dead end. That's where her business is gonna be. And John puts in an application for 50 Main Street, right in the middle of Main Street. Yeah, they're within the town of Norridgewock, but does not one score better than another? Significantly, probably.
Right.
And how much importance do you wanna give in terms of weighing this out?
And then that would have helped.
I,
with
this
previous
is,
problems.
this is stop, I think. I mean, so, but Deanna's project's a manufacturing facility that's gonna employ 200 people, and my project's gonna employ 3. And I'm gonna have a gross revenue of 200,000, she's gonna have 50 million.
Right,
You know, so like, yeah, my project's got the more foot traffic and I'm more visible, but economic development to the town of Norridgewock, no way in hell. So like, how do we,
Decipher.
That's what he's saying, we
You know
have
what I
to
mean?
weight these things.
yeah, but that's, and what I agree, that's tough,
but that's where you pull back on geography, because geography is important,
right,
but if we could generate 40 new jobs,
right,
is that a way?
Yeah.
yeah.
At
And
the
it
heart of the program. I think it's probably relatively equitable, because the heart of this program is to improve blight,
Explain blight to me,
ugly buildings.
visibility, okay, I saw the word, I said, that's the truth, I thought it was like a disease, but okay.
It is,
It is, yeah.
it spreads,
It's like junkyard.
right?
Apparently.
If you start maintaining your building, the next door neighbor's gonna very likely say, well, no,
Yeah.
guess that works.
Okay.
And then
I
you get
wanna
popular
add-
neighborhoods,
I
unfortunately.
wanna add one more thing here, because there's 9 and you can't divide that either.
So what do you want?
Well, I think we should start with trying to figure out. And I know that this is not easy because I didn't give you any guides on weighting, because I didn't just do anything. Prioritizing these 1 to 9.
I was
is
just
what
gonna
you-
say rank
what you
them.
want to rank.
Yeah.
Rank these categories, number 1 to number 9, in order.
Number 1 being the most desirable.
The most important consideration
Okay,
is
just
looking
being
at
clear.
TIF Advisory.
I-
And then I think once you
Appreciate
get them
that.
in order, then you can assign values to them.
Do you want us to do that individually and you'll collate it?
No,
Let's talk about.
I don't, I mean, that would be easiest for everybody, but I don't think that. I think that this is a good enough working group where there might be a reason why you wanna put something above another, and if
Some
you
of
can't
us, yeah.
explain that, like what John just said.
Mhm.
I think that's the most beneficial thing. I mean, we don't get the whole way through this tonight, but I think it's important that.
Well, I
Not
almost,
gonna overstep, I think it's important that you guys have something like this.
I just almost wonder like what he's saying individually as just like real quick, if we just roughly all. Each do it on our paper, just so then we can be like, okay, what did everyone put for this one? And then if you have a 1 and you have a 10. But then the rest of us have 9 or something, then we can.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Go.
I'll fix my
So we're
spreadsheet.
gonna rank these 1 to 9.
1 to 9.
One
I'll
to
do it all,
nine.
and then we'll start talking.
Can I say something before we start?
Yeah.
Wouldn't project location and visibility just be a traffic count that we have for almost every road in Skowhegan or in Norwood? Like, I don't know, how like, isn't just the amount of cars that go by it something that's very data driven that we can just say,
Could be. But I could have more traffic that goes. I don't know, I think that has to do
But I
with your
think
Main
that's
Street
probably-
corridor.
I was just gonna say, I think that's where that helps.
but when,
Like that blob map that we often refer to, that really has nothing to do with TIF, it has to do with community revitalization. But Depot Street.
Which would have a next to
It
nothing.
would have a low traffic count, but it's in the heart of that.
Okay,
You're
Okay.
gonna have a high traffic count out on the Marshall Town lines.
right, but that's,
Wouldn't you rather see the investment in core downtown? I think that's a consideration that you make.
okay, so 1 to 9.
I gotta redo mine. Very frustrating. 8 times.
Can you give us some guidance on effectiveness, reasonability of budget? So bigger. So are you talking about the size of the project or what are you trying to get at there?
I'm proposing to re-side my building. I'll probably would love, I'm gonna put new signs out with lights on the sign. And my cost of that is $15,000.
So this is,
What do you really think you could get a sign and some lighting for?
so is
What's
this,
your bang for your buck?
yeah, yeah.
Do that, maybe. John, we don't get first names. So we're gonna do weight first, right? Oh,
I'm gonna take your ratings, and I'm gonna put them in here. Yeah, I'll move this chart around. And we're gonna talk about it.
okay, I'm ready.
Hope you want to go first.
Yeah,
Read your numbers right down, top to bottom.
2, 3, 6. 5, 7, 4. 8, 9.
Oh, next.
Okay, let's start over again. 2, 3, 6. 5, 7, 4. 8, 9, 1.
Thanks.
With my backwards.
I'm ready.
Heather Johnson?
1, 3, 4. 9, 7, 2. 8, 6, 5.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This will be interesting.
I'm ready. 1, 3,
Ooh.
5, 6, 4, 2, 8, 9, 7.
Really?
Yeah,
I
these are
mean,
gonna be
right,
very, I'm with the. I can't believe on the. I can go, I'm gonna really think up 4, 2, 5, 1, 8, 3, 7, 9, 6.
Wow.
Some of them are really close though. And I'm wondering if I'm misrepresenting things different.
Okay.
9 is great.
Yeah, I didn't do it that way.
5,
I'm
Three.
dyslexic, I guess.
8, 7, 9. 4.
Is it bad that I have?
Get on the block.
She had to redo it, she did it
Sorry, I
backwards.
did it backwards. I'm
Did you
sorry,
write the
I'm a
numbers?
banker.
You did the right.
We're missing some.
Melissa.
Ruth isn't here.
Oh, sorry, yes.
There's only 6 up there.
Yes, sorry, Ruth is not here.
No. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I said. Everybody's not there.
Yeah.
So
We only have 5 up there.
No.
No, there's 6.
I'm
We're just
waiting
waiting for Melissa's numbers.
There's 6 of us here.
Oh.
Richard does it. It's okay.
Okay, I think I got it. 4, 5. No.
I recruited Melissa, I told her.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No.
Look, I had to do
I
that.
know. All right, so 4, 5. 6. Four, 5, okay,
Right over here.
I'm going to. All right, 1. Now I feel pressure.
With the job description, because it's like, I want to create jobs, but I also find this is people are doing that.
Yeah, number 5, then we have a 9 and a 1.
I know.
That's pretty wild. At the bottom too, we have a 1 and a 7. Interesting.
So should we talk about them more, and before we just like. Met them?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on, sorry, so can we go back to the start?
That is not ready.
He's moved on. I don't blame it. All right. 3 is the top, 5, 2, 6, 7, 1, 4. 9, 8.
Well,
Oh, interesting. Wow, this is cool.
Okay, so I feel like I misinterpreted the number 1, because nobody else was even close to that. I said impact on business activity, I guess I was thinking of bringing people into the town. You know what I'm saying,
I
is that
think-
not what it means?
I think I took that more as the demand for like the business type and community value,
Okay,
I guess. Cause like you said,
Yeah.
market, and I'm like, yeah, I want that, to me, that would be like the big.
yeah, okay, I was thinking like the potential of the business to bring more people to our town, and then in my eyes, that's them spending money at other places in our town. Cause that's what we were saying with the salons, we're like, oh yeah, like when you come to the salon, like maybe they'll stop in like
I see what
other
you're saying.
places, so I think I'm misinterpreting what that means.
However, if you go back and you look at our guidelines. And economic vitality, whatever that means. Enhance commercial property,
Yeah,
I can enhance commercial property, make it look prettier. What does it mean to increase economic vitality? Is that people? Is that jobs? Is that the feet on the ground or
cause
is it?
that's like, the last one is to increase foot traffic and sales for businesses through aesthetic improvements. So I guess that was what I was thinking, was impact on business activity.
Oh, let's see, yeah, I see what you're saying now.
Those are.
so we just wanna go through it.
Yeah,
and it's just our way out.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start right here, John Lynch. I think your number 1 and your number 2 are pretty close, right?
Yeah.
So number 3, John, you're an outlier. You ranked this low.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a
Yes, I
minute, wait
did,
a
and I
minute.
did it intentionally. Oh, right.
That was not your one?
Well, how in demand is this business? Is number 1, 2.
Your order is not the.
Your order is not the same as my order.
I changed it once you gave me your numbers.
Okay.
He put them as the top.
I put your numbers in and then I ordered it lowest to highest. You need to change your numbers,
Yeah.
okay?
Don't worry about his order, cause.
Oh,
he
okay,
changed-
I was looking, okay.
He changed his order by how we rated them.
I
That's
pulled
very
it by
sorted.
ratings and then sorted them.
Okay.
He shouldn't have done that.
So
No,
was
it's-
Messing, no, he should have, but it's like messing up what she's thinking.
So John on business type and community value.
My struggle is, we have, and we just did it, we have 2 salons, so the second salon, since we already have one, we would have. Rated less, right? And I feel like we're gonna get a ton of pushback, well, they just got a salon, why can't I, you know, why
Yeah,
am I?
you're
I see what you're saying.
Yes,
the way
I was thinking the opposite as you, I was like, oh, if it's a new business, then we need to rate that high.
Right,
Well, and I think my thought was like, okay, but if it's in demand, for instance, a grocery store, if it's an IGA, then I'm gonna be like 10, cause I,
We
you
want,
know, cause
yeah,
we
we
want
want new businesses.
new and it's different and it's not a salon.
So we're opposite.
Well, that's fine, I mean, I'm just saying,
But I
like,
see your.
we're gonna do
I
the
do,
kickback, right?
yes.
The whole point of this is
And
because we gotta
And
answer
because they're
that.
not side by side, where I think the one out from Fairfield is bringing business from Fairfield into Norridgewock. And then we've got one in the center, of town that's easier, so.
And then that will be like, then that's when we rate it.
Yeah.
Right, like business type, if it is a third, fourth, fifth hair salon,
Then
then
you rate
we're
it
gonna rate that thing low.
Low.
So that way,
You know, hence the confusion totally for the program. I mean, it's a perfect example of how confusing the program is. Because there's a lot of funny words and there's a lot of, yeah, it's very difficult.
Interpretations.
mhm.
Expectations.
And that's where you
different
say that
things.
we're human and we all interpret things differently, which is why maybe this helps so that they can't say that. We have favoritism instead because we're using a scoring grid.
Right.
So signage is all, well, Melissa likes signage.
I really, that's not, I don't know.
What was your number on that?
Well, I had to do it backwards and then I got confused, so.
Or two is another outlier. But it on average ranked relatively mediocre,
Yeah,
but it ranked
Right.
above job creation.
I just said out loud, I have a hard time with that because it's like, I want to create jobs, of course, 110%. But are people gonna apply for that and work there?
But
You got mine.
signage,
I don't think,
signage more goes with facade, right? Versus job creation, so should facade stuff rank higher?
I would think so, but I agree with
Your facade program?
job creation. Oh, I see what you did, you speed up our numbers.
See, now I'm catching on to what Melissa's catching on to.
We're all here.
Instead, he's ranked it from number 1 to
I
number
put
8.
your ratings in the order that you gave them to me, then I totaled them all up on the right side.
Yeah, now.
And then I moved them around by what graded the
Yeah,
best.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are we talking about, right?
We're talking about
Signage.
signage
Job creation.
ranking mediocre, but ranking better than job creation. Direct or indirect job creation, so not necessarily at that business, but
Okay, I'd like to speak to job creation. I think the intent of our facade is to create economic vitality. And creating economic vitality should be putting people in the workforce. So to me, that's number one. I mean, that's what we should be trying to do, create jobs.
But is that the intent of the program?
Right, like I agree, but our.
Yeah, I don't
program-
disagree, right?
I know, like if we had.
myself.
If we had one specifically for job creation, I would love that, but, right, like we're a facade, that's not what we are, we're a facade improvement
I was gonna
program,
say,
we're
I
not a
would think-
job improvement program. I agree,
I would think,
But I do think-
new businesses are great, but most of our applications truly go to businesses that are already created, which is why we more focus on the facade part of improving what the building looks like.
Cause if you're gonna go into a dumpy looking place. And put in an application for a job. I think you need that to create the need, the want for people to come in and take. A look at what the business is.
so when we talk about weighting the importance of this, you would like signage to have a greater weight in your equation than job creation.
I think it aligns with our,
Yeah.
I think it aligns with our goals and purpose.
Impact on business activity, frozen that top row. But Jocelyn, you gave it a 9, Danny, you gave it a 1. Let's hash it out, girls.
I couldn't find anything to be a 9, and I'm just like, they're gonna walk to the business if they wanna go there.
I think the increase in foot traffic was taken directly out of our goals, so I thought that should be up there, like. Like, yes, that's great if we can create a business and it looks great and then that it impacts that business, but we wanna impact the town as a whole. So if that business is gonna bring more people here, that affects all the businesses in our town.
Yeah.
So I stand behind my increased foot traffic.
And like I said, I didn't know what to put last, so I'm not gonna argue with it.
But nobody else put it above a 5, so.
I think with the things we've rated way higher. Those, if you do those the foot traffic comes. Is that a good way to put that, I guess? That's
Yeah.
why I rated it lower, like, if you have the better outside, if you have the visual appeal, you have the signage. You have the impact of the community, like you have those, that comes along after.
True,
Yes.
so if you go to
So-
Mint, you may go to the Six Penny, or you may go across to York, so.
So I feel like it sits well where it is.
It also considers the nature of the business.
Correct.
A bank will generate a lot more foot traffic than, or a convenience store will generate a lot more foot traffic than an IT office.
Right.
Or a law
daycare,
office.
Or daycare,
Right, you're gonna get that influx in the morning and in the
right, in
afternoon.
the afternoon, right,
But,
whoops,
and you've got employees that come along with that, but,
which enhance
right,
other businesses.
Right, cause the people coming to work are getting a coffee or what,
Mhm.
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, hence the line on the hill.
Right,
so what we find where this place is relative to the other items
Yeah.
Mhm, I agree.
still, okay. Strengthens commercial presence, so does the investment propose filling vacant or underutilized space, or does it enhance the presence of business activity?
I feel like that should be higher because it does go with our facade improvement. Even though I was, I know, okay. I didn't know we were doing
Okay,
that
wait.
spot.
So I guess is that, you say fill the space though, so I guess that's why like fill the vacancy, like, okay, we're demolishing and building a new building, so that would fit in there too, cause I didn't think about it that way, so I agree that maybe that should be.
and
I think it should be above job creation.
I ranked it high because I think the intent of what we're trying to do is downtown, and I think it's. I can think of very few businesses where it's a good economic value, you know, good return on investment to invest in that. And that's kind of why I went to bat last week and that's why I ranked it high.
I will say why I kind of ranked it low because I, my own, like, when I hear commercial, as I kind of, like, I just think like. It takes away the small towny feel, but it really won't, like, cause we do already have those guidelines and that it's not like. Whatever our list is that we aren't going to approve.
I think
So-
that's just the word that
Just saying,
that AI
commercial,
pulled
I
out.
know, I'm like, commercial is like, yeah, okay, yes, thank you, I would like to move mine. Cause I just think of commercial, I'm like, well, I don't want people to drive through Skowhegan and it looks like, I mean, Norridgewock and it looks like.
You want it above signage though?
I'm not making that decision.
You would propose putting it right here.
Yeah, above, yeah, perfect. What do you guys think?
Y'all good with that?
Okay,
John?
I'm good.
Yes,
Excellent.
cost effectiveness,
Almost feel like, I'm
what's
gonna,
your bang for your buck?
Yeah.
I'm gonna like kind of go off, because I feel like that one should be last, because the one that's last, as you can see, I'm the only one that put a 6 for that, but. The way I read that one, and maybe the bottom one, the way I read that was. If they are asking us for 12.25 and we give them 12.5. That's all they're putting into the business. I have a hard time with that, cause if they're not investing their own money and they're not putting down. Whatever, double that, then if we're only giving them the money that they're gonna use, especially like a new business, and they're not putting their own money into it, then what's to say that they're gonna stay open for the 5 years? If they have no, like, I put up my own house for that, like, not that that's what we're expecting people to do, but like. You know what I'm trying to say? Just not saying it the right way.
So this was one that I added in, actually, the last one. Because I think. Lived experiences, right? You look at a couple of the recent applications that you've dealt with and you wanted to. Say, well, why do we put that cap in place? Right. This is where your cream rises, where you don't have to score well on this. You could get that 70 and that 70 gets you the 12,500 or whatever your standard amount is, but this is also a place for you to exceed where. You know, I'm gonna invest $300,000 into this project and I'm only asking for 12,500 or my qualified. And so if you score well here, then it gives you extra.
So even if
Compared
we
to
rate it
results.
low, but like, it's a 10, and we.
I think a 70, when you're done with this, I think a 70 would be a very good score. Because maybe you won't hit this, you don't wanna not fund that $1,500 application for somebody that wants to just put new signs out in front of the business.
Right.
You wanna be able to do that. But if somebody's gonna go put $300,000 into investing in facility. That's where they get extra credit.
Mhm.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And that's the discussion that we always see, it's like, well, my goodness, you're gonna put 350 into a building and 350 into laundromat equipment.
Right.
And that's where I think you can have that discussion about removing the cap and using, like, here's my benchmark of 12,500 for a standard project, which score really well in all of these categories, that's what using. It moves up, like it's the perfect investment maybe for TIF committee.
So you think that
So,
what we
okay,
ranked last should be higher?
No, I think that you all put it as last, and I wanted to provide you a frame as to why it should even be on there. Because if it ranks this low, you have to wonder, should it even be a part of your consideration?
And in some of the situations with one that already exists downtown and the one that wants to exist downtown. There's space for additional businesses to be added into that building as Mint has one in the back, correct? And has the option for the upstairs as well to do something else.
I'm not sure,
I don't know,
but that's obviously something that strengthens somebody's
it
application.
strengthens his application, correct?
Do we like the priorities? Okay.
I'm comfortable with the priority.
Alright, so we're gonna on to this one.
How you feeling?
What's that?
How you
Well,
feeling about
You
them?
go to approximate,
Okay.
I think everything there's some flex in everything anyway, because this is a guideline.
Exactly.
that's why I
And it's
asked, like,
not gonna choose, like, we're not gonna get back here and be like, oh, well, here's what it is, like,
That's
we
right.
will still have our normal discussions.
right? So,
What do you wanna say?
We'll still get in trouble.
We'll still get wrong, that's fine, but at least I
Never-
have to be.
There
we're
you
never
go.
gonna make
We
anybody
got
happy.
numbers now.
No,
I think it
but I
provides
think
you
we're
that,
moving in the right direction.
the due process where you're doing your review of what's that's submitted. And you're evaluating, and we'll have this with what you guys support before meeting. If you don't review the materials before meeting, then it'll be obvious that you haven't submitted your scoring.
That's him saying we need to do our homework.
And then we will have that, and then if you wanna make adjustments after you have this type of discussion here, where she just, I gave it an 8, I shouldn't have given it an 8. Then we can adjust it and
And
then
then
have
is
that
it-
scoring that pairs with it.
And this will be public, that when people question us, they can see what we scored as a whole.
Will applicants get this?
I think
I
that,
think they should.
right,
Yeah, and I think it would help them with their application.
Right.
Yeah,
If you were an applicant, would you want it?
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
so I think that's
right,
important.
how you operate, right?
I agree,
Yes,
because then they
what are they
know,
looking at? Yeah,
right, what's important.
yeah.
I would.
And I think
make
this would have
community
helped.
foundation-
The walk-in freezer piece of
Main
what's
community
important.
foundations lets you know what they're looking for, so
Yeah.
it is right there in black and white, so you know
And
how
then we're
to
not
write the
asking as
grant,
many questions
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
all there.
Yeah,
how will you use this money?
Out of 100 points, how much do you think this project location is worth?
Oh, you were just about to show us how Excel did it for us.
No, it's not going.
oh, darn it.
Project will come up out of 100 points.
So I think it's easier to start from the bottom if you gave,
Well, I was gonna go to the top and then go to the bottom and then fit in between.
cause like my thought is the bottom would be like 10 or 20.
So if we have
Well,
9.
So it can't be 20 because you have 9 factors, so you
Yeah,
have to
see, this is
estimate
why I hate this.
12 points.
Can you put the bottom two together, then there's 8 and they'd be divisible.
I mean, do you wanna put 5 and 5 or?
If we do this, is that 2 points? Add all those together and divide by 100, that would tell us what the percentage of each one of those is. You see what I'm saying?
We need to divide by 60.
That's just counting to.
Too late for that.
6 people. Yeah,
Mhm.
with P's. Do you wanna get the lowest score?
Melissa, it's like this every meeting, just so you know.
I did completely bait and switch you, I swear to God.
Okay, so this is the formula Jonathan's wanting.
That's not correct.
No, it's other way around.
That does not equal 90. 100.
See, can we equal 90 instead of 100?
Because it's 45, 4, is the total scores.
Because that's our weight, that, the average weight is what we put them as, it's not the weight of the actual thing.
Yeah, but I was thinking that.
Yeah, there's a problem with the formula, I couldn't tell. Well, and the problem is that we just rated one to be one important
Yeah,
and nine to
exactly, it
be,
should have been the opposite.
it should have been
way.
the opposite, yeah.
Yeah, if we would have gone 9 as the
Down,
highest, that
yes.
would have.
Because then we would have known.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's why I was just thinking to myself, how are we gonna reverse this?
I mean, do we have to do this right now, or is this something that we're comfortable with it and it's?
I think it's becoming a challenge.
Yes, it is giving
So
a challenge, I feel like we're gonna be here till 8 o'clock, well, Richard on the board.
2 out of
It's
45.
a day after.
20%.
Okay, but I'm gonna suggest that this isn't the way we should be doing it.
Okay,
Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to just place a priority on it as. Its placeholder as opposed to the total value in. In the scope of the project. And so I don't think, so this is only off by 4 points, but I think that. That's probably not the way that you're rating.
Okay,
so.
I have a question. If you do it like this, so if you did. And we can just put these numbers in and totally talk about it, but just to start with 25, 20, 15, 15, 15, 10, 10, 5, 5.
Under
That-
20 points.
Oh,
120 points. Well, how, so what, we're only.
But at least we have a
20
total
off.
to start with, I don't know.
Let's say that.
So what if you just? Yeah,
And do 10. I don't know, I was just trying to like get
What
us
if
the
you
total to shift.
Yeah.
10. Alright,
our top two, I feel like are close, could they be the same?
right,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're still 10 over. 40. But this is my thing when we're weighting them, do we want them to be the same like that, I guess? Make signage 10 instead of 15.
Yeah.
There,
Can you go
that's 100.
7.5?
How do we?
Right, that's what I'm asking, like, do we want them to be the same, do we want them to all be different, that's what I also, but that at least gets us to 100 to talk about it.
That's fairly. That's fairly. So if you got 2 20s, you're well on your way.
Right, that gets you 40 already.
I mean, we're, yeah. It's,
John, you're deep breathing over there.
yeah,
Yes,
I
Are
like
you, what are you thinking?
It's just a lot of weight on,
Two
Two things
things,
that are so similar.
yeah,
okay,
right, I mean, it's tough to have a non-visible.
Give me an example.
you're saying those two are easier given already when you're applying.
Give us an
So,
example.
and it's completely fine, but I think this rating system. Goes back to heavily weighting the downtown, like it's gonna be hard for. And again, fine with this, but what we're saying is it's gonna be very hard for a business that's out of town. To do well.
Unless they're, the business type and community value is still up there, cause I feel like if you're gonna be a business out of downtown, then you've gotta be a good business that we do not have. And you gotta have good signage so that people can find you.
And do we wanna keep whole numbers, cause I was gonna say, like, John said 7.5, so you can do 7.5 on job creation and 7.5 on. Strength, and that gives you 10 more points to put somewhere else, or not 10 more, but a few more points to put somewhere else.
I think it's a good guide. I think it's gonna be tried and true on everything, but I think it's a good, you gotta start somewhere, you can't.
Do you have a suggestion on moving a couple numbers?
Really, if you went 20, 20, 20, those are the three, if you look at the left, right-hand side. Those three are probably the most, what we all said were the most important.
Right.
And align with our facade purpose.
And the 2 bottom ones definitely are 5s, I think, so.
So whatever our weighting system is.
Hmm.
What, like, we put them in there. They've got this, clear metric on how they get weighted. And then what happens? Like, do we fund if they're over a 70 or they're over, like, what's the end?
My
I think the end,
recommendation would be that we take a couple previous applications and score them. And see how they fall.
Oh, we might not wanna do that either.
It's done, it's settled, and the funds will have been lapsed.
That's true, but
But I think that you guys could take a look at that project
Like
history
this
and
one.
find. Like, wow, that's a really great. Application. Well, this one was good too, but it wasn't top.
well, I think this would help us with. Like when we wanted to give a business more, they also rated wonderful on this, so that's why we wanted to do more money, cause that's what this helped us for.
And then in my mind, I think that you look at the number of, let's just use 12.5, because that's the number.
Sure.
to take. If you get 70. A score of 70%
Mhm.
on all of these, that's your 12.5. And then if you go above that, if you score an 80 or a 90. It's gonna get more difficult to get those high numbers unless you guys are really, really charitable. But. Then that will allow you to rise above that guideline 12.5, so you can invest in those businesses that are gonna make the bigger impact.
So if a business met the rough criteria. But scored poorly, so they
50.
they created a bunch of jobs, they had a business impact, but they weren't. Basically, it sounds, it's a decent business, but it's out of town.
Mhm.
Would we still fund, or would we fund everyone that met the criteria still, but then have this mechanism to fund above and beyond? Or is this determining whether or not we fund?
We might not fund them fully, what I
Okay,
mean.
Cause we
like,
don't have
might-
to give them the full 12.5.
Right, they could
counteract to 10.
We could say, hey, you guys like are kind of, yeah, are all the reasons you just answered why they wouldn't score high.
I was gonna say, I don't feel like this is, I think what's hard too is like. I think what I want, like what I said at the last meeting is like, in our guidelines, it's like, I wish there was a clause that was like. Into our determination, so like, as a committee, we still say like, okay, we recommend that we don't fund this, or we recommend that we do fund this. This is just helping when we have, I think more so those out of line applications, like last time where it was more than what we're supposed to do. And then this would help us go to the select board and be like, this is why we want to do more, and here's our exact scoring of why, not so much of. Nah, we're not gonna give them money because they scored a 30, like, I think that's. Not necessarily what the point of it is, I guess, is funding or not funding, I think the point is more. How much should we fund them by their weight of their.
And if they got underfunded, then if they showed improvements as they got done what they needed to do, they could always come back and get the remaining of the funding,
Right.
correct? Right.
I think that this puts into place a way to. Get extra funding to projects that. Merit that. I don't think it intends to undercut anybody. But I also think, just in scoring this, not related to any specific application, try to find more discussion. So when you have an application that you've rated a 1 on the top thing and somebody else has rated a 6. Oh, then you're an outlier, why? And you're having a discussion with the after, hopefully an applicant's already given their presentation. And you're able to have that discussion as to. Why it's different as opposed to, what color are you gonna paint this building, what's the sign gonna look like? Cause that's largely what public process is when we come into here, you folks are reviewing your application before you come. And then you just get these residual questions in public and the applicant hear or feel that.
On the overall application, will there be a question asked if they would be coming in to make a presentation to answer questions?
I know you strongly suggest them to, but.
Right, I mean, if
I
you
think
wanted
that
to say
plays a
that you
lot.
cannot send an agent, that it will not be considered, then we could do that.
I feel if
I
its
think-
investment is important enough for you, it's important enough for you to be here.
I think that's fair, because like the other suggestion I just made is say we made that tonight as a date. and they can't make that, I think it's fair for them to say, is there a different date or time that we could
Are
do?
we going to move to quarterly meetings or just reviewing applications on a quarterly basis?
Correct. We meet on an as needed,
Okay,
but what we need to be more firm with is that. If your application comes in and we're due for a meeting that's already been canceled, then you're gonna have to wait the quarter.
yeah,
And I think that's another thing that makes it really, the process.
We're
People
not gonna
sliding
review
the
it
stuff in at the
tomorrow.
last
Yeah.
minute, and then it's like, okay, we now didn't get it, now what? Or I really need this and this is my last piece.
Kind of
This
like
is
how
just
the
like
last
going
one,
To get a mortgage on the property or to get non-traditional financing instead.
probably like on the
Instead,
last,
look at more foresight.
on like the last couple, he had to send those emails to them to ask them for a bunch more stuff. And then we had to wait until we had it, last time we were here.
It's where their priorities lie.
I
So
think
we
that
could
could
just
be on
click
there.
on this.
yeah,
I will get this emailed out, I'm gonna clear out the whole side of the sheet and I'll get you the weight and then these items. And at your next regular meeting, we will revisit this.
But like you said, I think like pick a couple just random applications, pull out and see how we would score them and then see how we feel about.
I'm comfortable with that.
I think don't pick the most recent ones. I feel like it'd be fair to just pick a few from the past that are, like you said, lapsed or whatever.
And one in and one out. Of time.
Yeah, just so
Okay.
that we can
Pick
see if the
one.
weight, if the weight really works.
fine with
how-
that.
Well, I think just so that we can see if the weight really works how we want it to too. Before we say, yeah, that's exactly how that's gonna work.
I'd just like to reiterate, what, are we comfortable doing that? So like, we're gonna pick projects that might not even been with this board, and then we're going to openly score them. And then,
Are you willing?
Yeah, you can do 30 equipments, I'm totally fine with that.
oh, you do much less, I don't care about
You want-
mine, I'm just saying like.
What's
I
the, what,
mean, I,
Enough
that's,
of us on the-
they already have their opinion. That's fine.
here's my question to you, what's the negative side you're seeing if we're doing it just to make sure our system is?
Are you worried about?
There are some projects on this list that I would not score well,
Oh, that
Right.
got scored.
But that's
yeah.
the point,
You should.
So let's.
Yeah,
but they got funding and.
we weren't on it, so don't worry, like.
And
No, and some of them I was on,
And I think
Right? I
that's
mean, that's-
what we're doing.
yeah, at the same time, we've got 3 businesses here right on the board that we could score those.
absolutely.
And we weren't, I mean, and
if you guys are all fine with that, then maybe
Yeah.
those are just the ones we use, so then we're not.
Offending
I
anybody.
think the
outside.
goal is to get a project that isn't exciting,
Out of
but
town, in
meets
town,
the standard for funding. And see how that scores, and then get one that is exciting, that has got a lot of extra investment, and see how that scores, and that kind of gives you.
Yeah.
Your average.
or not, and like she said, one in town, one out of town, like I think 3 would be good, so then it's not just 2, so.
Well, I mean, Deanna's out of town.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, that works.
We were kind of in town, like, and
It's
a
just-
little,
Yeah, it's more in town than I am.
Yeah,
just across the river.
But if we look, and that's right, good
there you
point.
go.
So we look at the traffic count, cause she's gonna kill me in traffic count. But I'm closer to, like,
Right,
as the
and-
crow
and then
flies,
look
I'm
at what
closer
the-
to downtown, I mean,
What
that's
the
tough.
daycare has in Brave, I mean, that's totally something totally different, so.
I'm comfortable with it if you guys, I don't have a business, so like, that's why I asked, like, what would you see the negative side of your business
And it-
being rated?
Just to be clear, I have no issue with.
Right, I'm not saying you do.
It's,
They're all said and done.
okay,
They're already
Sounds good.
said and done, so it's not, I was losing it.
Do you think that the ones, we don't have to name names, but do you think the ones that you look back at that got approved, that, do you think this would have helped?
and I'll just say, so. Love Rob Robot, think he's a great guy,
Hmm.
appreciate what he did. I think it's gonna score extremely poorly.
Mm-hmm. And
And
Sure.
that, and I had, and to be honest, I had a hard time finding it, it was
that
my
was my
first,
first meeting.
first meeting, yeah, I was
Yes, it
like,
was.
okay, I guess we're gonna get bumped, you know,
Like
like.
the speed of making, I
Right.
love horses, here we
Um,
go. But.
And I
right,
think,
so
Amy, you know,
that helps.
and I guess my hope would be that this process would score Amy's project completely different than Rob's. Because I think there is potential,
And they're
potentially a
very
lot of economic
different.
impact there.
And I think that goes
Whereas-
to the point where like they are almost in the same exact location, but they're very different businesses, and that is our hope that then they
Yeah.
could score differently, so that, yes. the two highest ones really are kind of the same, but.
But the two lowest.
But
are
the
same
middle
too, I
ones,
think.
yeah, so I think that might make this work.
Okay.
You feel that way, I feel that way.
But,
I think we have to try it somehow, some type of way to know if it's even
but
going
that
to work.
project qualified for funding. Right?
What's that? Both of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the one that would have scored very low.
Yeah.
Qualified for funding, so you don't want to exclude that. You want to see where that kind of falls on your scale.
Right,
Say, okay, well, not the most exciting project,
yeah,
not moving the needle largely, economically, but boy, it's a building that needs some attention.
right,
And that's what we're doing here.
And there's.
So maybe we will pick that one for scoring,
absolutely.
closed out, and to see where that goes, because you don't want this to. You don't want to exclude people either, but you wanna know where they're gonna score relative to the committee.
And it's just to see like, okay, say we pick that one and actually, when we score it, it's
Mhm.
better than we thought it would be, then it's like, okay, well. We didn't think it would be that way, so are these weights working or do we need to move them around, cause it doesn't all fit, I guess. Or. I think for me to agree to this, I
Are
need
you
to see
able
it,
to send us applications and stuff too? Like,
Yes, I will.
okay,
I will.
and not to be that person, but I have to.
I know.
see that it. Or less.
So. We've changed the criteria slightly. So like I know when I got funding, it was obviously for the 25, but we've also made other changes since. Or have they been,
They've not been relevant
Okay.
necessarily, we've adjusted mixed use, we included some different businesses.
okay,
But by and large, the
And the
meat of
amount.
what the program is looking to fund has not changed. I don't think this takes into account, your scoring criteria doesn't take into account the changes.
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah. That's good.
Because when we first started, this was all about putting up new signs and putting on new siding on the building. That was it, that's all it started, and then it morphed. Every time we get a new application, well, yeah.
Because something, I mean, and it's in one of these here. Visual enhancement curb appeal, and that could rate really well, but. What if it's just generic new construction? Now, that's not the intention of facade improvement. We're creating facades, we're not improving the facade. And this program has facilitated new construction. And I don't disagree with it, because we can have a building that goes up, you want it to look nice, but. Does that weigh in where I'm taking this eyesore of a building and I'm going to improve it as opposed to just new construction? And that's something you will weigh on too. Okay, so I'm gonna get you 3 applications. That we're selecting.
can we have the Bickford property on there too? Cause I know there was a lot of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, it's right downtown, but it doesn't have much impact, it has a housing impact, but not economic impact. So,
Yeah. Any other specific ones you'd like to respond?
Do any of those, or
Or
any of
score.
those big and exciting, like we said?
I'll get you one for the 6-penny jug.
How about a Hardy? That was one of our first ones, I think we did.
Okay, I've got 4 now.
Oh, okay, this is 3 good,
3's good, okay.
3's good. I don't like home.
I'm gonna give you 4.
Okay.
I will give Bickford Properties, 3D equipment. Robot Farm, 6-penny jug,
Oh, that's good.
which will be the McIntyre pub. Didn't have a name when we heard it.
Gonna go against 6-penny jug, and I'd rather do like Fredericks or something that's existed, a Fredericks or Hardy, something that was there already, and we actually are making it. The facade better.
Wasn't that what we?
That's
did
what
to
that was.
620?
You had a shuttered diner. And then they came in and they.
Oh, that's true.
built it.
I'll argue that 3D equipment as well. There are pictures of the building before. Say,
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the 6-penny jug is probably the epitome of the program.
Okay.
it's
Where you-
exciting and then.
It was make or break for the investor to get that funding into the total picture. And it took a downtown business that was closed and reopened it, and it employs people and it draws people. So to me, that would, of all of the applications, that is probably the highest scoring application that we've seen. Should,
Mhm.
I'll have to question your place on this committee. Okay?
Yeah.
So we'll leave this way the way that it is, and what I'll do is I'm gonna publish this on your section of the webpage. Or do we wanna vote on this wait? Or do we
No.
wanna wait for the next meeting?
I think we need to wait to see that it's what we want it to be.
Okay, then I'll,
So we'll run them through this
Yeah.
and then kind of say, well, no, that didn't,
And then publish.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
see how
we
it,
need to make sure that the
like
wait.
a block thing.
weights are, or we wanna set that benchmark a little bit differently.
Yeah, let's revisit
So I think these
that.
applications that we have the six-man judge should score very well. If it's not scoring very well, then why?
Right, then,
Or something that you say, I believe should score poorly,
Right.
but still get funding. How does it fall?
right, is it the weights or is it what we're thinking? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alright. Update on the revolving loan.
Yes.
Yes, please do, please do.
Update on the revolving.
Should we,
Let's go ahead.
Don't
mean-
stop moving on.
Chuck, you're here, you were pretty critical in the select board meeting, does this, you like this, is this? You don't understand it, because there's a lot of rules on. Right.
But do you think that that fixes a difference of opinion though?
What?
Do you think that having a scoring sheet like that would help?
Different people. Okay.
Do you think,
I'm glad you did see, I've got more respect for you than I did the other night. Some of them that they did put on went through it crazy and hell. Yeah, you just didn't mention it.
Okay. Well, all right, that's it, okay. That's fair.
Should be an umpire.
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, move.
Okay, revolving loan fund, you have, the update here from Christian, you have 2 loans out with a balance available, a lend of 65,000. We have what is a anticipated loan application for 25,000. We're demoing new construction downtown. There's no business name because it's pending, but you may have an idea as to what that might be. And then of our current loans right now, you have one that is current, and one that is delinquent, and the delinquent is now 5 months delinquent. So that is your update.
So
on
what
the
happens
revolving
there?
fund.
It says, it's that they have a meeting with them.
Yeah,
Who is, do we know who that is? Am I allowed to know who that is? Or what business that is? Cause that, like, these names are different, like Main Lab Tours, I know just cause the sign's up. That's fine,
I will say, you have said it, you have said it in a meeting live
Okay.
before, they know it's out there.
this is the organization that owns the property under Nickerson Yard Maintenance Foundation.
Okay, my only question is when they are delinquent on a loan like this that we are watching but we're not funding, how does this affect us in our program?
This does not have an effect on your program. This is money that we've just sent to Skywick, and when it gets repaid, then it goes back into that fund and ideally grows money for the fund. The 100,000 that we put in initially had a 3% charge off the top for administration. And in a perfect world, we're gonna earn that back and the fund will continue to grow, so we can money. But in a situation where they fall behind or something like that, you might look at, you know, elongating payments and stretching it out a little bit further along, right? Yeah.
And then this
Change
section is
payments.
what they still owe, like this is what they asked for and this is what they still owe.
Correct. Yep. And so hopefully next time we get together, we have an update like this, there'll be another one.
Yep.
That's the goal, and this is really the program, we talked at the last meeting, in the select board meeting about, well, what are funding mechanisms for things that don't fall into the facade of the program? And this is one of those funding mechanisms. Unfortunately, whatever, you know, you just can't take public money and start buying personal property that you can't necessarily attach or whatnot. So this is a good avenue for folks that would like some assistance. No, it's not a forgivable loan, but it's oftentimes cheaper than going through the bank.
Right, yeah.
You in business?
2 things, New Balance, anything? I see they chucking stuff out the windows.
They are,
Yeah. Okay,
we've submitted, everything, guys, nosy. An $8.5 million congressionally directed spending request to Senator Collins's office. We sent that back, by a dozen letters of support. And we're hopeful that we'll hear on that. It proposes a multi-use, repurposing of the facility.
and the old wheat factory.
Silent.
Oh, yeah.
It's honestly, I don't hear anything about proposed redevelopment. We toured the facility back 5 years ago or more. it's on the verge of being declared a dangerous building,
It should be.
and then the owner would be ordered to take it down.
And you said that owner's the same as the Chinese restaurant, the
Yeah.
other house.
Yeah, so I mean, it's leaning and its eyes are on it.
Yeah, sad.
Right,
Very sad.
And if you've ever, anybody else ever been in that?
I haven't been.
It has some beautiful,
Looked at the
beautiful.
pictures, they're
It has full ceilings that are all hidden, ornate, and it used to be at the Odd Fellows home, and it's beautiful wall, it's gorgeous, just beautiful inside. What a shame.
those are your two,
What's that?
Any other
Two?
business?
One more time.
that's it for your other business?
Yes.
Any other business? No. What was there at 6:25? So thanks, everybody.
Oh, is the, IX going back? Are they still there? I looked the other day and see.
They pull them typically for the winter, but the cage should still be there.
Okay, okay.
They probably go back when the dogs go out and stuff.